What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again. And before we start, Millsy, of course, you are here. It's the Mike and Millsy show. We didn't have one last week. We just couldn't fit it in, to be honest. We tried and tried and we tried. And I've been a bit poorly under the weather for the last few days, guys. So sorry for the lack of uploads, but we're here with a bang. We've got Millsy. We're going to discuss a few things, transfer window, James Rodriguez in particular, because that was quite surprising he didn't go. No bite back. Get some thoughts on that and see where we go from there. Hey, Millsy, how you been?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I was on Mike and Millsy withdrawal last week. I was watching you with envy on different channels, but as always, the videos were brilliant. I enjoyed yours and John's video. Fantastic. But yeah, like you said, you've just been saying to me off air, you've been under the weather, so it's good to see you back, my friend.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you. I'm expecting the dog to go mad any second now. She's primed and ready to go. Let's get on to it then. I'm going to go straight into a pretty brutal question, really.
Okay.
Is Marcel Brands to blame for not getting a right back?
I think that question has a number of layers on it.
Like onion, you just keep peeling.
Yeah, and you'll finally get to the bottom of it in 20 years' time when everybody has the foresight and the hindsight. But look, I don't know. In 2018, should he have been clever enough to identify that we had a right back in his late 20s at that point and we would need cover at that point? Yes. But in 2018, I wasn't saying that. But again, I'm not paid to do that job. I think he is. The simple answer to the question is he is to blame. I think Djibril Sidibe came in under his watch. We nearly got Diego Dallo on loan last year, I believe, only for it to be blocked by United because they seen us as rivals at the time, which is funny looking back 12 months on, really. But yeah, look, the budget, we all know, Mike, we all know the budget this year just wasn't there. But Marcel Brands, like I've said to you on this channel, he's part responsible for some really bad signings. It's very, very easy for everybody to point at Steve Walsh. Very, very easy. Was the 2017 window much worse than the 2019 window when you see that we've still got a goalkeeper out of that? We've still got Michael Keane, who for all his faults has had some moments in this year where he's played really well. Yeah, yes, in short, I think he is to blame. I think this summer his hands were tied behind his back, but he's part responsible for tying his own hand, one of his hands at least behind his back, because he didn't have the foresight to do it in 2018, and he failed in 2019 when he had a budget again, and he opted to bring someone in on loan, Djibril Sidibe. And look what's happened 3 games in. We've heard that Seamus Coleman's hurt his hamstring for Ireland, and we're probably looking at playing Ben Godfrey right back, which for all the attributes that Ben Godfrey has, sooner rather than later, he needs to settle position at Everton, and that's not playing right and left back when needed. It's being the man. It's playing 38 games as centre half. So Ben Godfrey is an adequate replacement when called upon, but it's certainly not ideal. What about you? Do you think it's all on Marcel Brands, or are the mitigating factors for you?
I think there is mitigating circumstances, but I think, we spent 1.7 million and we knew money was going to be coming in from external sources. We know there's about £3 to £4 million coming from Southampton for Thierry Small. We know there's money come back from Juve for the loan of Moise Keane. There's still the Turkey window, which could see another player, another couple of players potentially leaving Everton in the next 24 hours. So, I sort of sit there and think we should have bought one in on loan. I think there's no excuse for at least not getting one in on loan with an option to buy for next season. And, the question I had was, we'd been linked really heavy with this Luis Diaz for, a number of days leading up to deadline day. And, rumours were that we'd even upped our offer on deadline day to 35 million euros and James Rodriguez. What doesn't make sense to me, if there was £35 million in a pot somewhere, why didn't we go and get a right back who, in my opinion, was more important than a left winger?
So was the 35 million on the basis that we were saving 10.5 a year on James Rodriguez? Was that part of it? I mean, and then once James doesn't go, that money isn't there. I think the money was there staggered. I think you might have paid a certain amount up front and then you're saving 10.5. They then get that next summer. I don't think it's as easy, and I could be wrong. I don't think it's as easy as we had the money for Diaz, because if we did, I think he'd be here and we'd still be looking to loan James out, which we are doing now. I think James Rodriguez, rightly or wrongly, and some fans want him to stay, some fans want him to stay, and I don't mean to sound harsh, but he hampered us on deadline day. His refusal or his unwillingness to leave and move, that really hampered us. And if he did leave, maybe Luis Diaz comes in, maybe then we push harder for it right back, which was in a Maitland-Niles. But for me, Maitland-Niles, if he's the man, if we're looking at Maitland-Niles on the 31st of August, why weren't we looking at him on the 31st of July and pushing that deal then? Why? Yeah. We're not the only club who do this. If it does my head in. You go to Sky Sports News on deadline day, and it's just like someone just threw a gang of sweets in a playground and the kids are just clamouring for stuff. And you just think a bit more organisation from everybody here involved, you'd be fine. There wouldn't be this. That Maitland-Niles deal for me, I looked at it and God, it's not like it's a world-class right winger or right wing-back or right-back who's just apparently came on a transfer market. He was on loan last year somewhere and available all summer. Why does it take us so long to then say, okay, we'll try for Maitland-Niles? Yeah, and I don't know if Maitland-Niles is any good, but it's the thing that we wait till the last minute and it hampers us. And the Diaz thing, going back to that original point, I don't think, and I could be wrong, it's as black and white as we had that money. I think there were lots of moving parts in there. There would have been staggered payments. There would have been the saviour of James Rodriguez's wages, possibly some bonuses he's entitled to because he's only on a 2-year deal, and I imagine it's heavily incentivised. If he hits a certain figure this season, plays 10 games, 15 games, does he get more money? Do we look upon saving that? I think there were so many moving parts on that deadline day, and again, it comes back for me that we were guilty of being one of the teams who panicked on those last 2 days, and it was just so frustrating.
I agree, and I think the dog's going. I think James Rodriguez coming on to that. Do you think he'll sign for a Turkish club tonight?
I hope not. And I've been on this channel in the past saying I want him to stay and I want him to be part of it. However, if we'd have lost him and brought in a Luis Diaz, or we'd have brought in a match winner replacement, okay, but to let him go and not bring anybody in, to not bring whether Luis Diaz would have came in, or maybe if there was another deal on the table for another winger, left winger, right winger, central attacking player, there can't be now because our window is closed. We cannot replace James Rodriguez. So I don't see any benefit now in saving what he's on £10 million a year apparently, in saving £5 million between or less between now and January. I would rather have James Rodriguez than £4 or £5 million. I obviously have different opinions to the manager. It's very, very apparent the manager doesn't see him as part of his plans, and maybe that £4 or £5 million unearths another Damari Gray in January. And maybe the manager is looking at that and saying, if you give me £4 or £5 million, and me and Marcel can scout some players within that, £4 or £5 million, we can get them in January, and it will strengthen us again because I'm not going to play James Rodriguez. I'm not going to play him, so you may as well get rid of him. I think that's more likely than my preference, which is he stays and he's part of it. I do think he will leave. There's reports today that the team in Istanbul are edging closer and closer to reaching an agreement where we cover some of his wages. Again, that's how desperate must we be for money when we're looking at loaning someone out and paying half the wages? We're treating him now like he's Balassi, and he's not Balassi. It's James Rodriguez, and it's such a shame for me how it's ended and how it's ending. We're watching it end because last season he had me on the edge of my sofa behind closed doors. There was times where he was just unplayable in the first part of that season, right up until maybe end of October. And I think even when you look at how we fought back in the game at Old Trafford, how we went ahead in the Merseyside derby at Anfield, without him on the pitch, those things don't happen. And that Merseyside derby in particular, if you see the feedback online from people watching that and the videos and things, the moment that was and the night that was for Evertonians, does that happen without a player like James Rodriguez? I don't know. But I know I've got long-winded there, but I do think we're looking at him leaving, unfortunately, and that's not my preference.
I get it. I think it's a shame how it's ended. I think I feel like I'm sort of got this weird feeling, if he didn't want to go to Milan, or the offer didn't come in from Italy, and he didn't want to go to Porto, or Porto couldn't agree a deal, I don't understand why he goes to Turkey, because I don't think you want to go to Turkey over Milan right now. I think the league is not as competitive. I don't think he will be standing out as much. I don't think he will get. I'm not saying he won't get the respect he deserves, because there'll be a fanfare for whoever he signs for. Obviously, that'll be massive.
Especially over there, that the Turkish fans are fanatic.
But it's the standard of football every week, and I just don't know. Look, I know it's going to happen, or I feel like it's going to happen. If he feels like this is his only option at this point, I feel a bit shit at the whole situation from both Everton's perspective, James Rodriguez's perspective, because he would have been absolutely instrumental if Carlo Ancelotti was still here. Now, look, he's not. We move on. You know, he completely snaked us, but it's such a shame for a player of the quality that James has got in the final third, his ability to pick a pass out, just his ability to beat a man standing still. It's a real shame that he's not going to get any time in a blue shirt this season in front of the fans. And I do understand. I do get it. It's just a huge shame.
Do you think if he stays, now you look at players who aren't part of it in seasons gone by, and there's two types of player really. The examples for me are Yannick Bolasie and Cenk Tosun. So neither player was needed last season, neither player was wanted. However, we've seen glimpses of Cenk Tosun. We've seen Cenk Tosun start a game over Christmas. We've seen Cenk Tosun score a goal in the FA Cup third round. We've seen Cenk Tosun come on at St James's Park when we were chasing the game. Yannick Bolasie wasn't even training with the first team. So if James Rodriguez stays, despite what we think, despite what we want, where do you think he sits? Does James Rodriguez get Tosuned, or does he get Bolasied?
I think he gets Tosuned. I think he plays.
Really, he's featured.
I think he has to feature. I don't see a way where he doesn't, because look, I won't forgive James Rodriguez for his comments. Not about the situation, not about, he doesn't know whether he's going to play for Everton this weekend or not. Fair enough, mate. He obviously knew something we didn't, and he's told the fans, he's told whatever. The comment that pissed me off from James was the Leeds comment. He wasn't asked to even know who Everton were playing, even though all he was in isolation. This is still a bloke that has to go back to training. I know he's been on holiday, because I think Rafa Benitez has allowed the squad a few days away. So he's gone on holiday. He's rumours are that he's in Ibiza or whatever. Fair enough. But he has to, if he stays at Everton, he has to play in some games, because we need him. We haven't got the same depth that we had last season, and we lacked depth last season. We haven't got Gylfi Sigurdsson, for whatever reason he's been suspended. We haven't bought in another midfielder in that sense. We haven't bought someone who can play in a number 10 role. We need a creative player like James Rodriguez, and not having a James Rodriguez. I understand he's going to play 4-3-3, and I understand, he might play 4-2-3-1, and you'll see Andros Townsend, Amari Gray, and Richarlison dropping into that deeper role. But none of them are a 10. They're all fitting square pegs in round holes, same as right back, same as left back, and that doesn't work for me. So I think it's a real shame how it's going.
It absolutely is. It is. That's the best word for it, a shame.
I think he'd have to play.
It's a problem, though, for Rafa, isn't it? It's a big problem for Rafa, because no football club is perfect. Now, we were told, we had it rammed down our throats that our neighbours were the best in the world, and they were shite last season. Man City the season before had moments where they were shite. So no team is perfect. The moment is going to come this season where we have a couple of bad performances, we have a blip, we have a bad run. I think it's a big problem for Rafa Benitez if that happens and James Rodriguez is not on the pitch, but he's still contracted to the team. I think that adds to the pressure, because, like it or not, we've won two, we've drew one, we've gone through in the cup, and things are looking okay at the moment. Can you imagine if that didn't happen? Can you imagine if we didn't go through against Huddersfield? Can you imagine if we didn't win the first game at Goodison? There'd be people clamouring right now for James Rodriguez. So I think for Rafa, it's a big problem if he stays, because I think personally, I think he'll be Bolasied. I think he'll be Bezic'd. I don't think he'll be part of it. I really don't. I think if you remember, we had Andy van der Meijden for 3 or 4 seasons, and Boyz, I think he played him about 4 or 5 times in 2 or 3 seasons, and that was when we were at the bare bones. And even when he came on and he done an assist for Dan Gosling in a Merseyside derby victory in the FA Cup, he certainly wasn't on the bench the following game. He was back with the 23s. I think it will be like that, and that's not what I want, but I can just see, I can gauge from Rafa's press conferences when he's asked about him. He's not too happy. There was a comment before the was it the Brighton game where he said we've got until the 31st of August and he's part of the plans until then. There was little comments where Rafa was expecting him not to be here. I don't think he'll play. I think you'd see Anthony Gordon play over James Rodriguez under Benitez.
Yeah, fucking hell. Let's talk about a positive note then. You are right. We're in international break. England have played well. Not really, I've got to be honest. I don't spend too much time watching England games anymore. It's sort of.
No.
I watch the competitions and all that. That's great, but it has allowed some of the Everton players in that thin squad to have a bit of a break. Calvert-Lewin obviously damaged his toe. Broke his
he needed it.
Picked up an injury. Seamus Coleman's picked up an injury now. So yeah, Ben Godfrey or John Joe Kenny or Mason Holgate's going to play right back. The question I was going to ask was actually about Niels and Conker, because Luke Dean, and I don't know how true this is, but John told me yesterday that Luke Dean might have picked up an injury for France. And we've just given away a left back that would definitely have played on loan, in my eyes. Again, last season when this happened, and Conker had a couple of games, and then he referred to Ben Godfrey at left back. Do you think we treat these kids like well? Do you think we look after them?
We touched upon it, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, and I think we could have a live stream and talking for hours about the Everton Academy or how Everton treat young players, whether young players get a fair crack at the whip at Everton. I know Niels de Kunke was bought in from somebody else's academy and he bypassed ours, but he's still a young player. He's still got to develop at Everton Football Club. He really impressed me last season when he played, minus the game at St James's Park. I think him and John Joe Kenny were targeted by Newcastle, and rightly so, and they looked poor. But prior to that, in the cup games he played, he didn't look out of place in a team that had James Rodriguez and Richarlison playing in it. He was just as dangerous at times going forward. Is it right for his development that now he's, is he 19 now, that he plays more games than possibly 2 or 3? Yes, I think it is. He's probably not ready to rival Luca Dean and say, I'm going to fight you Monday to Friday at Finch Farm for Saturday shirt. I don't think he's ready for that. However, we have as a club have to weigh it up. Does he then come back next year because of this and is able to do that? Possibly. Maybe that's the call. Maybe that's the decision. It leaves us awfully short. And if John's right, I don't know if Luca Dean to pick an injury up. If John's right and he has picked up a knock and he doesn't make Monday, and Seamus Coleman doesn't make Monday, then we're probably looking at a back four of Holgate, Mina, Keane and Godfrey, who would then be left back, which is not ideal. And then there's no room for error. There's no room for suspensions. There's no room for knocks there because we're really at the bare bones. So I think to let Niels de Conque leave and not bring in even someone like an older player on loan or an older player on a 1-year deal, and you sort of say, look, he's back up to Luca Dean. I think that was very, very short-sighted. But I'm hoping that we talk here next summer or next September, and Niels de Conque is a much better player for the decision. But at the minute, it's hard to. Any football fan, it's hard to look into the future and say next year is going to be better because of this. Because we all live for the moment. We're very reactionary. We do weekly podcasts and weekly shows. We live for the moment as football fans. We live Saturday to Saturday. And Saturday to Saturday right now, I think we're worse off in the country not being there. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a mistake by Brands or whoever pulls the trigger on the recruitment, because this is another thing I was going to ask, and I don't want this to feel like it's a bit of a targeted show against Brands, because as many negatives as there is with both Walsh, Brands, the recruitment, there's an article today in a lot of the papers about £500 million since Mashiri's come in, and
seen it.
Yeah, you know, and you can't argue with some of the comments in there. But what I don't understand is what Marcel Brands actually does anymore, because he's on the board of directors for the stadium and things now as well. He's involved in different areas of the club. And what Arsenal did is Arsenal went out and spent a lot of money, and a lot of people looked at those signings and went, it's a complete waste of money. Ramsdale's not better than Martinez. You let go a year ago. You spent 30 million on him. Ben White is not a 50 million pound centre half. Whether he proves us all wrong or not, that's the case. But they needed someone now, in my opinion. The players that they've signed haven't really been, oh, yeah, that's fantastic. They brought a lad in from Germany, I think it was, who was criticised as not being a right back, not being a right midfielder, and not being a right-sided centre half. So nobody even knows what position that kid's going to play. So, but what happened is Edu, their sporting director, come out and did a statement and did a video and explained his reason, explained what. I would love that direction from Everton, because Arsenal are free falling at a rate of knots, no doubt. But at least there was somebody there who put some rationale behind it. I would love Marcel Brands to come out and do a video and explain what he does, where Everton are going, what we want to achieve, because we all had, and I've mentioned it before, we all had the season tickets and the membership card saying nothing will be the same. We all had the campaign about Everton's in our blood and the different shirts, the different ages and going forward. We had that team literally the summer before Mashiri come in that included, I think it was a John Stones, a Ross Barkley, a Kevin Morales, a Gerard Deulofeu, a Romelu Lukaku, a much better team than Everton have now. And I feel like we've gone backward. I love Marcel Brands to just come out and say, this is what we're aiming for. This is the goal. This is where we are. This is what we need to achieve. Do you agree? Or do you think I'm asking too much?
No, I think what you're asking for is fair. I think because this window has been so different to previous windows, and it's taken us fans to speculate as to why. It's taken journalists who aren't connected to the football club to put articles out explaining to the fans why. There was a really good article in The Athletic a few weeks back. I think it was Greg O'Keefe, who was as close to the club as you can get without being part of the club, saying, here's the reason Everton aren't spending money. Now, okay, I don't expect Marcel Brands to come out in the transfer window and say that, because it doesn't strengthen our arm in negotiations whatsoever. However, once the window was closed, there is no reason for him not to. And if he doesn't want to sit in front of a camera and he doesn't want to go on Sky Sports News, there's no reason for him not to write something in the next matchday programme, a message to Evertonians saying, I know it's been a tough window, the economics, and you can explain it how you want. He can twist the figures and make himself look good, because him coming out and saying we're in the shit at the minute financially is half on him. So I don't expect him to come out and say that. He's not going to say, I pissed money up the wall in 19, I pissed some money up the wall in 18, pissed more or less. He's not going to say that. But what he should come out, explain figures, explain the reasons why we weren't aggressive and active in the transfer window this year, why we had to sign, with all due respect, a free transfer from Crystal Palace, with all due respect, why someone pushing Jordan Pickford is someone who wasn't good enough for Bournemouth, why we go into a transfer deadline day trying to offload arguably our best player to save money. We're going back 10 years here. This feels like 2011 all over again, when I was watching Mikel Arteta get pushed out the door so we could loan in Dennis Strakolazy. And fans then wanted answers. And as much as people didn't like Bill Kenwright, still don't, he sat in front of a camera and he explained what was going on at the football club. We haven't had that. We haven't had that now. And even Farhad Moshiri's gone quiet. Farhad Moshiri was mocked for going on TalkSport and saying that we're keeping James McCarthy. He was mocked for going on TalkSport and talking about Ross Barkley. He was mocked for releasing statements around the Super League. Well, not mocked, but it was a really good statement, actually, that one. But he's always been sort of trying to clarify. Sorry, he was mocked for saying that it was the Fab Four, wasn't it?
Because of Jeff. What's his name? What's the guy that used to do
Jim White?
Jim White. Everyone was taking the piss out of him because he was so close to Jim White. And we used to hear things through the media, at least. You are right.
Yeah, but I don't. So he got mocked for certain things. I remember the James McCarthy one. I think we were trying to sign. I forget who it was. We were linked with somebody, and he came on TalkSport. There you go. He came on TalkSport at 9:30 on deadline night, and he said, "We're not signing anybody. It's important to keep James McCarthy for us." And he got laughed at, he got mocked at. Some sections of Evertonians said that's not the right decision. However, we had clarity. We knew at that point, there's the director from this club in this summer with hours left of the market. We now know the director. We don't know now. We still don't know. I'm sitting here refreshing Twitter to see if Istanbul are loaning James Rodriguez from us. I've got no idea what's going on. I really haven't. And we know friends who give us information, who know things, and we go credible journalists who give us things. That's not good enough. You're completely fair, Mike, in saying that someone from the club should come out and say, this is why this window was so different, and spin it how you want, but give us some sort of clarity, because are we going into January again? Is next summer going to be better? Can you show me something to tell me next summer will be better because we're losing 4 players on high wages who will play 10 games between them this season? Okay, thank you very much. I'll now expect something different next summer. Don't have me going into next summer not having a clue and relying on the Athletic and our friends to give us information. So, Edu, I imagine Arsenal fans weren't happy with some of the things he says, but they've sat down with a cup of tea, they've had a chat in a WhatsApp group, and they now know where their club stands, happy or not. Me and you, Mike, haven't got a clue at the minute.
No, no, you are. You bang on, and that's the only criticism I have. We know what direction the team as a team's going because we've got stadium on the horizon, but it's the stuff on the playing pitch. There's no point having a team with sort of a little bit of a lack of direction because of the board directors. I understand their focus has probably been on the stadium, but we still want to know. We still go and pay our money every week to watch 11 on the pitch, and if they're not the 11 that we necessarily wanted or even expected, I sort of feel like we deserve to know why. That's my only criticism.
Yeah, and we've got behind that in the past. There's been plenty of transfer windows, probably more so in my lifetime and yours, that have seen us scrap around and get players which, with all due respect, aren't very good. They're peaking at Everton Football Club, and we all know they're going to go down to different teams. Sorry, but we've turned up every Saturday and got behind them because we know that's where we are as a club. We know at that minute in time we can't spend 35 million. We can spend 3.5. So we get behind Kevin Kilban. We get behind Marcus Spence. We get behind goalkeepers who maybe aren't very good. We get behind centre halves who aren't that good. The Ashley Williams, we get behind it because they're coming in and we know where we are at that moment in time. And it goes back to my point there. And for me, the perfect point in time for any sort of address to Evertonians would have been at Finch Farm when Rafa Benitez fronted the media on his own, and next to him should have been Marcel Brands.
Yeah.
And the questions come there. The questions go, what's the plan this summer? And he could have very, very cleverly worded it. Blame coronavirus, blame no crowds, blame anything you want, but give us fans at some point. Unfortunately, here's where we are. It's going to be a tough summer. You know, the money has to be reined in a little bit this moment in time. We've got a manager here who we think can really suit this model at this moment in time. But this is where we are. Do it then. Don't have us go and get a September doing YouTube shows like this and still not having a clue. I don't know if we've got 1 million or 10 million or 100 million. I haven't got a clue. And no one should show me the bottom line, but I should have a gauge of where my club is going and what sort of player my club is going to go for. I don't have a clue at the minute. Not a clue.
I'm going to ask you last question to finish on. Obviously, football returns this week. Next week for Everton, but we play Burnley on Monday night. We're doing well in the league. We're joint second, I think it's fair to say. We play at home. Without going into too much of a match preview because we don't even know the squad, but what are you wanting to see from Everton?
3 points. It's that simple. It's momentum. In 2004, 2005, where we were top of the league at certain points of the season, we weren't blowing teams away. We were just very disciplined, winning 1-0. Those 1-0s can be, if you're a team you can win 1-0 every week, all of a sudden that plays in the opposition's minds. And of course, I would love to turn up on Monday night and James Rodriguez is playing the number 10. We've got wingers. Seamus Coleman's fit. Richarlison's not sulking. And we smash Burnley 4 or 5-0. Of course, love it. Give me 3 points. let's keep this going, because I tell you what, there are so many people out there waiting for me and you and everyone watching here to be the pantomime villains this season.
Yeah.
And bad results are gonna bring that to the forwards. No matter how many fans have the opinion of, we'll give this manager time, we know where we are as a club, there is just as many fans who don't agree with that. There's a lot of fans out there. I had fans sitting by me in the park end when the manager came out before Southampton, and they said they wouldn't boo, but they also said they wouldn't clap. Those fans will boo a lot quicker than what maybe I would, and there's people waiting to pick up. There's people waiting out there. Our red friends across the park are just waiting for it to go wrong. I imagine TalkSport. I imagine as soon as we lose 2 on about Sky Sports, pick next Sunday for our game at Goodison. They're all waiting. 3 points, Mike. I don't care how we get it. Just keep this run going. 3 points for me. What about you?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's important that we just keep up our momentum, whether we win a scrappy 1-0 or not. I'm
Absolutely.
not. We've played well at times this season. I think we've done well. I expect us to play well again. Certainly with a difficult side, I expect us to win, but I'm almost not bothered how we win. I just want 3 points, get as high up the league as we can until about February, March, and then at least we can gauge where we're actually going to finish this season roughly. Because if we can continue to just play well, play constructively, defensively disciplined, we could have a good season, and it could be very Moyes-esque. The season you're on about there was the season that we finished 4th. It was the 2005-6 season where we played in the Champions League, and we'd obviously had those successes from 2004 to 2005. So 2005, 2006. It was fantastic, and there was a great atmosphere around Everton. I remember being the Everton mascot at West Brom, and we fucking hell, literally 2 months before, I remember sitting crying at the Villarreal game where we lost and was robbed. Diego Forlan sort of scoring right in the last minute and sticking the final nail in the coffin. And I remember how shit I felt, and I sort of have the same feeling with this team, that every single player in this team is going to develop a way of dying for the shirt, and that's a credit to Rafa Benitez, because it's not something I can say I particularly remember under any of the last managers from about David Moyes. So if he can make that work, I'm all for it. Am I ready to sing a song for Rafa? Probably not. Would I clap him and cheer him on? Yeah, absolutely. He's the manager of Everton Football Club, and I'll back anyone who's in that job.
Well, just a little sidebar there. I work in the city centre.
Yeah.
And yesterday, Rafa Benitez was in a car park close to where I work, and a few people came up with photos with him, and they were Evertonians. And I said, "What was it like with him? Were you okay?" He went, "Yeah, we were all fine with him," and he was made up. So I think he is getting a good reception around the city, because that little report there where fans went over to him, shook his hands, got a photo, and he was really pleased. So that's a little sidebar there for anyone who's wondering, how Rafa Benitez is being perceived walking through the city centre. There's Evertonians going over to him, shaking his hand at the moment.
Brilliant. Right, guys, I think we'll leave it there unless you've got anything to throw in, Millsy. But I've got to be honest, I haven't. A bit of a quiet week really since the deadline day.
No, it's international football. I'm like you, mate. When the big moments come, when the big tournaments come in the summer, and it's not disrupting my team, I will sit there and I will get behind it. Absolutely. My little boy was singing "It's Coming Home" on the final. I think me and you done a video where you said we were gutted after it. When you're stopping me going to match and when you're disrupting my team season, I'm not for it. I don't really. If England beat Azerbaijan or if England beat Andorra, okay, as long as Jordan Pickford comes home safe. I'm not really for it. I'm ready for football to come back. I know sometimes on this show we get right in the weeds and we sound quite deep and quite sometimes perceived as quite negative, but Jesus Christ, I'm ready for this game to be back. I've been locked down for 18 months. Get me back in that ground. I was there on Saturday actually for the women's game. I took my two little nephews. What I will say is there was so many young Evertonians there,
right?
And even when Everton had a corner or attacking, that young voice, you could just hear that. the city at the moment is full of young Evertonians. It was great, and I think Everton deserve credit. I don't know if anyone from the club, I imagine they do watch these videos, but whoever was part of the match day women's setup last Saturday, you nailed it. Even though Everton got beat 4-0, the women stayed behind on the pitch and they took photos with the kids in the family enclosure, signed autographs. Man City fans were there. They had a drum, and it was so different to watching Everton men because, no disrespect, I didn't go home. I wasn't really gutted, but I just had a nice day. And anyone who was there on Saturday would have probably said the same. Let's hope that the Everton do more women's games at Goodison, because there was so many young fans there who maybe the men's games are a little bit too much for them, but it was a really good touch to have that game on Saturday, even though Everton got battered. Did you watch it at all? Or?
I watched a little bit of it. We were camping, weren't we? So it's not
of course, yeah.
But it was on TV, wasn't it? It was on terrestrial.
BBC One. Yeah.
So I watched bits of it, but yeah, it was a pretty decent performance by Manchester City. I must say, you could see that they're a team that's going to be up there for the league and Champions League and whatever in the ladies' season. But a little shout out to the girls and the ladies' team. I did the Everton sleep out, bloody hell, almost 2 years ago now. The last one, and they were there. Willie Kerr was there, and speaking to him and engaging with him, and we were talking for about 45 minutes. We had a really in-depth chat, and the ladies were fantastic. And I think it has to happen in ladies football that I personally think the Premier League and the men's game. Not that I like splitting out the two. I don't think that's fair, but. The men's game has gone astronomical in scale, in size, in commercial revenue, in branding, in all of that shit. And going and watch the ladies, it's almost like the infancy of all of that, and getting behind the team, and the girls want to play for the shirt and they want to achieve good things, and Everton want to finish in the Champions League this season. They've signed 9 players. They've gone, and it's just really nice to see a team developing. And look, I wish the ladies the very, very, very best, because I love the Everton ladies as much as I love the Everton men. The only difference is, I get to see the Everton men more because they play at Goodison more. They're on TV more, and it would be really nice if we can find a way where we can get the female league. Not necessarily on the same level, because I appreciate there's not necessarily the commercial revenue in it yet.
Yeah.
But to be able to stick a game on in the middle of the week, or it not just be the Saturday. I know everyone loves the Saturday 3:00 kickoff. I get it, but it's gone. Them days are done. Why can't I watch Everton against Arsenal on a Wednesday night because it's a rearranged fixture? I'd love that. So. Yeah, I'm all for it.
International break as well. Perfectly played by the club at Goodison. And again, a little sidebar. I took the nephews into the mega store just to buy them a scarf for the game. All the mannequins in the mega store had the women's shirts with Megaphone on and 9 Duggan on the back, and it was pushing the women's game so much. It was brilliant to see. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Millsy, it's been a pleasure as always. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow for another video. This one will be out today, as you've already know. You've watched 38 minutes of it. So, yeah, guys, I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Make sure you hit and like the subscribe button. Make sure you go to Across the Park podcast and go check out Millsy. And obviously give him a follow on Twitter and everything. And, guys, I'll see you soon. Peace.